Hello everyone, today I want to do a discussion video, which I don't do too often, but I kind of want to implement more in this channel because I have a lot to discuss, so why not, film a discussion every now and then. Today's discussion is going to be the epic topic of your TBR pile. I'm sure I'm not alone, as in when I look at my shelves and I look at my books that I have to read, I have no clue what I want to read next. And that's a huge dilemma, I think, for any reader. You look on your shelves, you're just like, what do I read next? What am I feeling? What should I read next? What do I have to review? La la la. I just want to talk about TBR, how you dissect yours, how I dissect mine. Let's just talk all about TBR because TBR piles are such a fascinating topic, I think. Like, I love hearing how hearing how different people work their TBR pile and all that kind of stuff. So I just really want to talk all about it. So let's begin. So behind me, as you can see, are all my TBR books. There's about, I want to say maybe about 15 to 20, maybe like 25. Okay, maybe max 30, I'd say. There's a couple more on my shelf, like sequels I just haven't pulled out. 30 books on my shelf that I haven't read yet, and I think that's a pretty decent number. Now, when I look at my shelves, I like to see 80% of it books that I've already read. That's just because, I don't know, it makes me feel better about myself, if I'm honest. Like, if I look at my shelf and there's an overwhelming amount of books that I haven't read, I just feel so drugged down. I feel like I just will never finish it. So I try to keep a reasonable, good amount of TBR books. Like, reasonable, like I'd say, like, it won't scare the crap out of me when I look at it. So, 30 books doesn't seem like a lot. It still is. Seems kind of a lot to me, but my whole topic is I don't have that, like, as I said, I don't have too many books. It's not the amount of TBR that really overwhelms me. It's what I should read next. I have that dilemma constantly. Like, when I look at my TBR, I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm feeling, and I'll pick a book, and I'll start, and I'm like, nope, not feeling that. And it'll be days where I just pick a different book, not feeling it, pick another different book. I think everyone has that problem, and I don't know. I really would love to have, like, a set thing of how I tackle it. Now, I have tried a TBR jar. Those are very popular. I was thinking about doing it again, and I'm like, that really didn't work for me last time. I pulled it out. I read maybe, out of the 5 times I did it, I maybe read one of the 5 times. So that doesn't really work out for me. And I was like, well, usually I go by moods. Like, if I'm feeling contemporary, which I'm always feeling contemporary, honestly. I can read contemporary every day of my life. And I'm like, no, I'll always pull contemporaries. And then it'll just be sci-fi and fantasy stuff left. And that's just, I would love to read those. It's just, I don't know. I always reach for the contemporary first. So I'm like, should I dissect them into categories? Like, genres, I mean? Like, should I be like, when I pull from my TBR, one time it'll be sci-fi, the next time it'll be contemporary, the next time it'll be fantasy. Like, what should I do? How do you dissect your TBR pile? Like, do you put it all together? What I usually do is I reserve one shelf and I put all of my books that I need to read on that shelf. But I'm thinking, should I put it in categories like contemporary, sci-fi, and then I'll reach for... Here's what I'm thinking now I'm thinking about it. I think I might use that one shelf, like say it's will be this shelf. I'll put my contemporaries here and I'll stack them in order of like highest I want to read to lowest. So, and then maybe I'll say, this week I'll go for contemporary. So the first book that I really want to read in contemporary I will grab. And then the next week I'll go for sci-fi. And the first one I read of sci-fi I will grab that. And then so on and so forth. So when I have, let's say, 5 genres on my TBR shelf and I get to contemporary again, then I'll pull from the next pile of my second one I most want to read. Does that sound logical? Does that sound stupid? I'm just not sure. Like, I don't know if TBR piles are just meant what they're supposed to be, just to pull a book at random and go with it. But that's what I've been doing for years now, and I feel like it just doesn't work. I feel like my TBR pile is still the same. I clean out my shelves quite regularly. There's a lot of books on there still that I know I'll never read, that they're just sitting on there, and I, for some reason, can't get rid of them. But I try to be realistic when it comes to my shelves because they're in my living room, If I had a whole... If I'm honest, if I had a whole room that was dedicated to my office / shelves, I'd probably keep all my books because I have all the space. But my shelves are in my living room, so I don't want to look too hoarder-like status. So I try to keep them regularly cleaned and like pull them out, pull all the books that I know I won't read out, and I just try to make it pretty and stuff like that. But if I had a whole room, probably my next house, like I will, I'm just gonna hoard it up in there probably. But for now, I just want to be realistic. So my question, this whole video, is obviously me babbling about crap, but it's also about how do you organize your TBR pile? Do you use it do you pull books at random? Do you set like categories? Like I think I'm going to implement and, pick the one you want to read the most and then go down from there. Do you just do by review status. I do that as well. You know, I get books quite regularly for review, and I try to read them if I'm excited about them. If I'm excited about the review book I just got, then I'll probably read it as soon as possible, just because I want to keep it relative to the release date. If not, it gets kind of pushed back in the pile and I feel horrible about it, and I could read it like a year after it's been released, and I feel horrible because I'm a book reviewer. So it's just, it's a constant, never-ending question of how you deal with your TBR. Like, how do you deal with it? How many do you have in yours? Like, I feel like 30 is a lot for me, but I know people that have hundreds. Like, how do you guys get through that? If you have hundreds of books, how do you tackle what to read next? Do you feel overwhelmed at all? Are you, like, satisfied with 100 books? I think if I had the room, I'd be like, it's not that big of a deal, but I don't have that kind of room. But how do you tackle it? Even if you have 10 books in your TBR, some people may feel overwhelmed with that, with the 10 books. I'm an organized, insanely type of person, so 30 books scares the crap out of me, but then I'm okay with it somewhat. It's just weird. So yeah, please, let's talk about this TBR pile. Like, how do you tackle it? How do you decipher what to read next? How many do you have in your TBR pile? How do you go about organizing your TBR pile? What do? Do you put it in a particular place? Do you have them scattered all around your shelves? I like having them set in one place so I know exactly where they're at, so I know exactly where to go. But yeah, I feel like I've talked forever about this, but it's just a really good topic, I think, to talk about TBR piles and how everyone differs. My main reason for filming this is I just want to talk to you guys about how you deal with your TBR piles and how I deal with mine, and just let's get some ideas flowing. Maybe we all can get on one singular type of idea. You know, if you guys want to talk about it on Twitter, I could be using the hashtag TBR problems. Let's do that. TBR problems. And we'll talk about all that there if you want to do that. That'd be great. In fact, actually, this is what I would love to do. Take a picture of your TBR pile and put it on Instagram, Twitter, and put hashtag TBR problems or hashtag getting through your TBR, whatever you want to do. Let's get through this. I know there's a lot of fonts, like the TBR takedown. I did that this year, and that was great. I got rid of like 5 books on my TBR pile that have been on there for a while, so I love that. But overall in the year, you know, let's get through this TBR together. Let's knock it down. Let's knock it down. But let's talk about it. Tell me how you deal with yours, how many, la da da, all I said. Yeah, let's talk about the TBR pile, because I would love to know how you deal with it, because that would be just amazing. So much for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.